Thank you, Chairman Shelby, and also welcome to the committee. And going to be a pleasure working with you on this, on the Full Appropriations Committee and the SAC-D Committee. The Department of Defense established new policies for maternity leave as part of the Force of the Future initiative in 2016, and it authorized 12 weeks of fully paid maternity leave after normal pregnancy and childbirth. However, this does not take the total force into consideration. Under the current law, reserve component members in reserve training status are required to attend unit training assemblies, that's the weekend drill, in order to receive points towards credible military service. If the female service member does not perform duty within the allotted time frame, the service member is in jeopardy of not receiving credit for their military service and points towards retirement. I introduced an amendment with Senator Rounds, Bozeman, Murray, Heinrich last year to the NDAA, which I plan to reintroduce as a standalone bill as well to fix this problem. It's called the Mothers of Military Service, or Moms Leave Act, would ensure that female service members of the reserve component receive points for 6 unit training assemblies towards the retirement after normal pregnancy and childbirth. And there are approximately 153,802 women in the National Guard and Reserves who are currently not entitled to be paid maternity leave. The National Guard Association of the U.S. has given full support to fix this problem, yet I have received pushback from the Department of Defense stating in essence that this proposal is too expensive. I believe this is outrageous considering the record amount of money this committee has approved for DOD in recent years. Are you aware of any issues with the legislation that would cause the Guard to object to the Congress advancing it this year?
Sir, I am not aware of any reason to object.
Would you agree that taking care of our female service members after childbirth is an important effort to ensure retention of female reservists and Guard members, and also an important job for any leader?
Senator, I would.
And can I count on your support inside the Pentagon to address this issue and help make this legislative fix?
Senator, you can.
Thank you very much. One of the Air National Guard's capstone principles was to allocate at least 1 unit equipped with wing and flying squadron in each of the 54 states and territories. Currently, of the 50 states, 4 do not own their own aircraft, including New Mexico. The New Mexico delegation has made several proposals to bring back a flying mission to the New Mexico Air Guard. I asked last year whether there was a plan in place to ensure New Mexico will be unit equipped with a sustainable and viable mission in the near future, and I mentioned that the CV-22 mission was one possible option for the 150th ANG, and last year I led a letter from the New Mexico delegation to Secretary Wilson urging the transfer of the HH-60Gs to the 150th. Mr. Chairman, I'd like to include the full letter in the record.
Without objection, it will be included.
What is the current status of getting a flying mission back to New Mexico? Is there any reason why New Mexico, border state with excellent flying conditions and mountainous terrain perfect for training, should be without a flying mission?
Senator, I would love for there to be an opportunity to put a aircraft unit-equipped flying mission in every state. I tell you, the 150th is flying a lot of airplanes associated with the active component Air Force, with the active duty Air Force, and doing a great job for our country and for our Air Force. But I'm not aware at this time of any planned build of a unit-equipped flying mission in the state.
Okay, well, we are going to keep pushing for one, and we hope that you'll find a way to do this. And the flying you mentioned is also very important. I want to follow up on what Senator Durbin and several other members asked about in terms of the border deployment. You know, we've seen the National Guard deployed to the border before, most recently in 2010, when there was a significant spike in cartel activity and violence on the border. The Guard was able to go down and act as a force multiplier, as you've talked about, General, and help the CBP address an actual threat to safety along the border. But today, The facts on the ground just don't support what the president has called for. Sheriff V. Hill of Doñana County, one of our largest counties, which is on the border in New Mexico, met with Attorney General Jeff Sessions last week. Sheriff V. Hill says the border isn't experiencing the crisis the Trump administration claims, and he says building a wall and sending in National Guard troops would be a waste of money. The police chief in Sunland Park, he's right down on the border, has a view of the border fence from his office. He says they have very little immigration-related crime. Sunland Park was just named the second safest city in New Mexico. Sheriff E. Hill says, and I agree, that smart border technology would be a much more effective and efficient security investment. General Lingle, prior to the president's announcement 2 weeks ago, had the White House consulted with you or anyone in your leadership to discuss the possibility of sending National Guard troops to the border?
Senator, prior to the 4th, no one consulted with me about sending people to the border.
And what is the specific reason the White House has given for the need to deploy the Guard to the border?
To assist the Department of Homeland Security and the Customs and Border Protection with the security of the border, which is a national security issue.
Well, but the president's announcements talks about, I believe his quote or his tweet or whatever it was, said, until we can have a wall, we're not going to be guarding our border with the military. We are going to be guarding our border with the military. So that suggests that he didn't get his wall, so that the reason for doing this is kind of a supplement to that. Would you agree with that?
Sir, the National Guard is there because Customs and Border Protection have identified areas where they can be assisted by the deployment of National Guard troops to help them secure the border.
Thank you very much, General. Really appreciate all of you here and appreciate your service.